What's going on, everybody? My name is Austin Ariel from Captured Metal, and yes, I am back. There's been a long hiatus between the last time I really shot content doing car reviews, and a lot of the time during the pandemic, I was doing it for Kia, but now I'm doing it for all brands again. So I am officially back, and I'm going to be throwing out content like crazy, and why not start off with a bang? As you can see behind me, we have this, the Toyota Tacoma Trailhunter. This is arguably one of the coolest trucks to come out in a long time, just because in the mid-size truck market, there's very few off-road variants that are as dedicated to off-road performance as this. And today, I'm gonna go through it with you guys. I've borrowed this Tacoma Trailhunter from Marietta Toyota here in Marietta, Georgia. They were very, very nice in letting me take this for a review and for a small little test drive. I'm going to link them in the description below because they're one of the top Toyota dealers here in the Atlanta area. So be sure to check them out if you are interested in any Toyota that might be imaginable or maybe unimaginable. Now, if you're already subscribed to the channel, I want to thank you for continuing to subscribe to my content, and hopefully you're excited that I'm back. If you are new to this channel, definitely subscribe, hit the bell so that way you get a notification every time I release a new video, whether it be a Toyota, Genesis, Hyundai, Kia, BMW, doesn't matter. I'm going to try to cover it, okay? In addition to that, follow me on Instagram at Captured Metal. That way you can stay up to date on things that I'm going to release in the future, because sometimes I might throw a little sneak peek there for you. So without further ado, let's get back to the content. Now let's talk about the front end of this Tacoma Trailhunter, because there is a lot to unfold here. So let's be honest, this thing is incredibly aggressive in design, and you can tell there's a lot of angles, a lot of ruggedness with it, as this is a dedicated off-road vehicle, okay? So overall, you're gonna see painted surfaces here. This is gonna be a textured plastic piece that honestly looks really nice. It's almost like a metallic finish in a way. You have tons of hidden lighting here, okay? And that's probably my favorite part about the front end of this truck, because you've got standard LED headlights, LED indicators, which is nice, but you also have a light bar right underneath the Toyota emblem. And look at these, okay? I guess you can consider these fog lights, right? I'm gonna consider them fog lights. It might be hard to tell on camera, but these are super small projector LEDs. So I would imagine at night these would be incredibly bright. And I'm also a firm believer that certain companies like Toyota and General Motors, as an honorable mention, put a lot of research and development into the brightness of their lighting. I swear, every time I'm on the road and I see one of these or a Corolla or something, those LED lights are strong. So I would imagine these stay the same, okay? You do have front parking sensors, so if you're intimidated by driving such a large vehicle, I promise you they do make it very easy. And you do have a front camera in addition to a few other cameras around the truck, which is really nice. You can see you've got your adaptive cruise control brick right there. So yes, there is some semi-autonomy with this vehicle as well. So maybe you just want the truck for aesthetic purposes rather than actually going on trails. Doesn't matter, all right? It's easily livable day to day. So going underneath the truck, yeah. So let me actually show you. Underneath the truck here, that is a skid plate. That is a metal skid plate. So if you actually do go trail riding in this thing, you don't have to worry about damaging the undercarriage of the truck. And you do have these beautiful bright red tow hooks, just in case you might get stuck, which might be unlikely in this thing, but it's good to know that you've got some safety precautions there. Now, before we go beyond the hood, let's talk about this badge right here. iForce Max. So what does that mean? So with this new generation Tacoma, they've unveiled different powertrains. So a standard iForce engine is going to be their turbocharged 2.4 liter 4-cylinder. And I know what you're probably thinking, why go away from that tried and true V6? The fact of the matter is emission standards are getting so strict, and in these large vehicles that honestly can be gas guzzlers, it's important to maintain power and increase efficiency. Now, Whether it's going to be reliable or not, let's just be honest, it hasn't been out that long. However, Toyota has a long history making not only naturally aspirated engines, but turbocharged engines. So perceived reliability is probably going to be very strong. Now, there is the iForce, which is just the turbocharged four-cylinder, but then you have the iForce Max. Max means you add in the hybrid powertrain. So this is a 2.4-liter turbocharged four-cylinder paired with a hybrid battery, and total output for this powertrain is 326 horsepower, but 465 foot-pounds of torque. So this thing's got power and it's got torque. And if you guys know anything about hybrid powertrains or electrified powertrains in general, that torque is usually available fairly instantly. So I haven't taken this thing on a drive just yet, but I'm going to take you guys with me for my first genuine impressions. But I'm actually pretty excited to see what this thing can do. But that explains the iForce Max. And yes, the hood is propped open a little bit, so you can see that there is a panel gap. I promise I popped the hood open. I figured I'd show you guys under the hood. There are tons of wires, tons of things going on under here, just because, again, you're going to have your electric motor set up here with the turbocharged four-cylinder. This is just the way of current times when it comes to the automotive industry. Emission standards are getting very strict, so you're going to see people downsize and include hybridization to their powertrains. But as you can see, there's nothing much going on under here. It is a fairly standard engine bay, as long as you negate the wires at least. Now let's talk about the side profile of this truck, because this thing looks mean, okay? You've got all this super tough cladding. Naturally, you got to fit these gigantic wheels here, okay? But you got the cladding here. On the side, you do have these bars here, so if you are going to be rock crawling or anything like that, and maybe you get hung up on a rock or a boulder, you're not going to get any damage to the truck. It's just going to glide on by on these metal bars, okay? You do have a mirror here with a camera, so that's going to help with that surround view camera system. You do have plastic door handles here, okay? I'm very curious about their decision on that. I'm pretty sure it has to do with the motif of this truck being a durable off-road truck. Don't get me wrong, this is a very high trim, if not the top trim. I do believe the TRD Pro is technically the top trim of the Tacoma lineup, but this thing is loaded with features if you're looking for luxury as well, so have no fear. But yes, just make note that you do have a plasticky door handle. It doesn't feel cheap, honestly, because it's a really soft touch material. So if you're concerned about it feeling or looking cheap in person, I can assure you it doesn't. And yes, you still do have Toyota's nice little touch handle. So I can just rest my hand on it, unlock it, and you're good to go. Going on to the side here, in black font, you see Trailhunter embossed here with a compass. Looks pretty cool. I'm a big fan of companies using shapes, logos, and things like that to help distinguish trims. That way, maybe somebody does a badge delete but leaves the compass there. You already know what kind of truck this is, okay? Going through the top, you do have this huge metal roof bar here, which is really nice. I love the aesthetic of it as well. Again, let's just be honest, a lot of people buy these trucks for the aesthetic, never take them off-road. But if you are one of those people, no shame, I am. The aesthetic here is really, really nice, but it's also very, very functional. So you can put whatever you want up there, gas cans, tent, camping supplies, you name it, you can do it. Going on back here, you have an ARB sport bar here, which looks fantastic as well. So overall, the design here is very cohesive, and it goes in line with that motif of this being an off-road machine. And it's going to be very hard to see, but you do have lights right on the side here of the truck bed where it meets the cab. Pretty sweet. So you have a lot of lighting on the outside of this truck, which is very, very cool. I'm very curious to see what you guys think of the profile of this Tacoma Trailhunter, because so far, this is my first time seeing it in person. Let me just tell you that. I haven't seen one on the road or anything. I know these are ultra, ultra rare, ultra hard to get, and I think this thing looks sweet. All right, so let's talk about the wheel and tire setup on the Tacoma Trailhunter. The first thing I want to point out is the fact that this is a bronze wheel, and that makes me so happy because bronze wheels are becoming a trend in the auto industry, and I am here for it. I love, love, love bronze wheels, okay? This is an 18-inch wheel, wrapped in a gigantic Goodyear tire. Okay, this is a Wrangler Territory all-terrain tire. Okay, it is a 265/70 R18 series tire, and you can see not only does this look fantastic, but this is definitely functional. Again, if you're taking this thing off-road or trail riding, hence the name Trailhunter, you know you're going to be in good hands here. Okay, it's going to be difficult to see, but suspension wise, if you are curious, this is running on an Old Man Emu suspension. You got 2.5-inch monotube shocks, which is really cool. The truck is lifted versus other Tacoma models. That way you've got a little bit more in terms of not only suspension travel but ground clearance, so that way if you are going to be trail riding, you've got clearance and you can go over things. All right, so let's talk about the back of the Tacoma, and this is where I think this thing is very handsome. This is a really simple yet modern design. Okay, so you have a full LED brake light system back here. Okay, you see you got this button there. Look at that, and it releases the tailgate. So you have a power tailgate back here that is released by a button on the side of the brake light. They took that from the Tundra. I think that is a brilliant design. I think stylistically it also looks cool because a button and a brake light, sweet. You can see the lighting starts to lights up. I hope that picks up on camera, but the lights I was talking about earlier that are on the side of the truck bed, those are on. You can see the lighting inside of the actual truck bed itself and the lights back there by the rear glass. All of them are on. They're all LED and they're all super bright. I mean, these are already bright. I can only imagine what it looks like at night. So, but you can see it's well dampened, releases slowly, and it powers up as well. So that means not only does it let down by a button, let's watch that again. Lets it down, and you can either push it or press the button, whichever you want, and it's soft close. We live in a world now where a Tacoma, a mid-sized truck in general, has a power tailgate. That's where we're at. Now, going along the rest of the back area, you got your backup camera, of course. You do have an LED light here that also shines down. Of course, you got your trailer hitch connectors for your electronic connectors, tow hitch down here, ARB bar here, which, yes, that is metal. And then you do have these tow hooks back here, just in case you get stuck. No need to have your pride hurt, but it can happen. So you can get pulled out, or better yet, maybe you got to pull somebody else out. There you go. And the fact that it's bright red, it's pretty cool. You do have parking sensors back here as well. So that are those are these dots here. And then you'll see back here the iForce Max badging here on the tailgate. So that way anybody behind you is going to know what kind of powertrain is rocking in your Tacoma Trailhunter. And for the sake of conversation, this one does have the spray-in bed liner. And honestly, it's a pretty simple bed. Now I got to do my due diligence and show you guys this because it's going to be hard to pick up on camera if I just leave it back there. But in the back of the tailgate, you do have this little power station here. You do have a built-in compressor tool, but you also have USB ports, a 12-volt power outlet. So that way, maybe you're camping, or maybe you're helping somebody with a flat tire, or maybe you have to let air out of your tires yourself. Doesn't matter. You've got the power station right here for you. And for those who are curious, you do have a 2400 watt outlet back here. So if you need to power a campsite, you can do so. Now, the last cool thing, and I want to save it for last, even though I probably should have done it on the outside of the truck, is this snorkel. So again, Trailhunter. If you're going trailing, you might be fording through water and you don't want to hydrolock the engine. So yes, you do have a snorkel here. So when driving, going back to the test drive, you hear a lot of intake noise through there. All right, so I'm going to sit back here. And the front seat is almost about where I would sit. Mind you, I'm 5'9". Knee room, I've got plenty of it. I've got plenty of headroom. Is a little bit tight back here? Maybe so, but at the end of the day, it is a mid-sized truck. It's not going to be a full-size truck, but if you need to fit adults back here, you absolutely can with no problem at all. Now going into the back of the Tacoma, you're going to see on the door card, you've got this really cool, almost marble granite looking trim here. You've got this orange stitching here on this gray leather, which is really nice. I love this metallic-y bronze finish on the door handle. And then these are just soft touch surfaces, but you can tell that they're made to be durable. Cup holders down here if you need them. And then going into the actual rear of it, see if the camera wants to adjust. There we go. You can see all my camera equipment there. Back here, you do have another AC outlet here. So you can see you can plug in whatever devices you need. You got USB-Cs there, cup holders here. It's a pretty sweet place to be. What do you think of the seats? I'm very curious of what you guys think of these seats. I love this color of seat because this is similar to the sage green I had in my Telluride, but I love the contrast stitching and piping on the seats. I love when car companies do that. So very curious to see what you guys think in this case. And in case anybody is curious, you do have a little tab that you can pull right here by the middle headrest, and you can actually release the seats, and behind it you'll notice part of the JBL sound system, and then a little cubby right here if you need to, I don't know, maybe hide something. Now, as far as seating position in this Tacoma Trailhunter, this is actually really, really nice. And honestly, I was really surprised when I sat in here because the seating position doesn't make you feel like you're driving a truck, which is really weird to say, but it's very true. And it could be because this is a mid-size truck, not a full-size truck, but it's honestly really nice. And these seats are really, really comfortable, very supportive. And yeah, I fit perfectly fine. Again, I'm 5'9". For taller people, I mean, look how much headroom I have. I've got a ton. Got pretty good knee room, and the seat's wide enough. I don't feel like it's too narrow of a seat. It's honestly a really good place to sit in. And yes, I just wiggled. All right, now let's look at the front area of this Trailhunter. So you can see the door card continues where the back area left off. You can see you got plenty of storage down here. You even got a little bit of storage down here underneath the buttons. You've got rubber here for the grab handle, which is really nice. That is a really good attention to detail, especially if you might be in the elements and you need that extra grip. You've got it there. Standard switchgear here for your buttons, and then that is what you're probably going to be wanting to see, the interior of this Tacoma as far as the front seats. So you do have power seating up front, which is really nice. Manual tilt for the actual steering column. Over here on the left-hand side, you've got various buttons. You've got auxiliary switches, which is really nice. Automatic high beams, traction control. You can turn on and off that AC outlet. Look at that. Power tailgate release. That's for your gas, of course, illumination. I mean, just so many different things. And look at that. You can aim the lighting. That's pretty cool. Going down here, so you can see the lighting on the truck. You can set them. You can turn on the light bar there, fog lights. So I guess I do call those fog lights. Technicalities. Automatic lighting, as you would expect, which is really nice. But let's take a gander at the rest of the technology in the truck. Now, here's the gauge cluster as you would see it. It is configurable. You can look at so many different things depending on buttons that you want to press here on the actual steering wheel. So on the left-hand side, you see you got your buttons to actually control that screen there. On the right-hand side, you're going to have a few more buttons related to more of the autonomous safety features. So your lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, press mode, that's going to be for your AM FM radio settings there. Thank goodness that wasn't loud. But yeah, so going through this menu here, you can see you can change various things here. Going through the rest of the interior, you have this huge 14-inch touchscreen display that is very reactive, which is really nice. It's definitely a more modern approach versus their outgoing infotainment systems. You've got in-car navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. Down here, let's lower that a little bit. And let's lower the ventilated seats. So you've got heated and ventilated seats here. You do have a heated steering wheel, dual zone climate controls. I will say the way that these feel when you adjust the temperature is awesome. They're very tactile, which is really nice. Your volume knob is right here in the center, just dead center, so you can't really miss it. And of course, your normal climate control features there. I'm not going to insult anybody's intelligence. You do have a wireless phone charger down here. Here's your shifter, and going down here, adjust camera, there we go. You got your parking brake and your brake hold, and then look, you've got your four-wheel drive settings here, 4 low, 4 high, 2 high, and look at all the drive modes that you have here. Drive mode, you've got your crawl mode, I mean, you've got it all. You can press whatever you need to. It's pretty sweet. So yeah, you can adjust all your drive modes. So you got sport, normal, eco. So whatever your heart desires, you can do here, which is sweet. I'm gonna just leave that normal there. But yeah, you've got that to your disposal. Now, of course, you've got your trailer backup guide. You've got your camera button here, so you can see. Look at that. There's surround view camera system there. Pretty cool. Augmented reality. I'm always a fan. You've got your rear diff locker there and your sway bar disconnect button. So if you really need to up the ante for off-road ability, you can absolutely do so. Going through the rest of the interior, you can see you got Toyota embossed on the dash, along with this marble looking material, which I think that is just the most interesting design, and I actually really, really like it. And you can see the soft touch surfaces, they still continue in the glove box. I mean, it's really nice into the dash. And speaking of, you can see up here, you got a digital rear view mirror. You've got Toyota's in-vehicle dash cam system, which is brand spanking new. So that's pretty cool to see. And you'll notice that this specific one does not have a sunroof. Up here, you're going to see the push open. That's going to be for your rear window. Of course, your door light settings here. And then, of course, you've got your LED map lights here as well. Let it be known that the attention to detail of this is quite wild, right? So for one, if you push here, look at that. You can choose a camera view, but my favorite thing, look at this. Go here. Maybe I want it blue. Now it's blue. Maybe I want it, well, that's silver. I thought that was going to be white. Who cares? Maybe I want it tanned. Maybe I want it burnt orange. Maybe I want it bright orange. Maybe I want it black. Maybe I want it dark gray. Doesn't matter. It gives me all the options here. I'm gonna leave it on red because red is cool. Also, for anybody inherently curious, this is what the key looks like. You got your lock, unlock, tailgate release, and the panic button here. Nothing too crazy. On a side note, if you guys are curious about how to change it from 4 low, 4 high, 2 high, you got this button here that you can just simply press in, and then you twist this lower one to whichever one, and yes, it'll chime there in the dash to let you know what selection was made. But that's how you do it. If you're curious, you just have this eject button here, press it, and there you go. You can take this thing out, listen to whatever your heart desires. How cool is that? Okay, so now we are going to drive this Tacoma Trailhunter. And the first thing that I'm going to make note of immediately before even pulling out of this parking lot is the roof line really seems low, which I think works for this just because you don't want to feel like you're driving something mammoth or too tall. And the other thing I'll make note of, just driving into the parking lot, steering feel, I love. It's actually got a really good weight to it. It's still on the lighter side, but a lot heavier than I thought it would be for a truck because I've driven plenty of trucks and the steering feel here is really nice. I definitely don't have any complaints here. You can hear the engine quite a bit, and arguably the cool part about that is you hear a lot of intake noise. So pretty cool if you ask me. I think comfort wise so far in the parking lot, I'm about to pull out on the main road, but you don't feel the all-terrain tires that much. So now, holy cow. You hear so much intake noise, it's insane. Wow. And part of that's because you have the snorkel, which is really cool. Now, with this one being the Trailhunter, do you have dedicated all-terrain tires on here? Yes. Can you feel them? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Is it jarring or unpleasant? Honestly, no. Right now I'm going about 50 miles an hour and you don't really hear much of it, if I'm being honest. Now, acceleration's pretty good. The transmission is very nice in this thing. Now, by the way, I'm absolutely just going to be straightforward with you guys and let you know that I'm going to post all the specs to this thing for those who want to know like every single detail, like towing capacity. You want to know headroom, legroom to the inches, cubic feet of, you know, the flux capacitor, all of that. I will put that at the end of the video, okay? Now, I like to do these shorter test drives just because I want to put myself in the consumer shoe, right? And the fact of the matter is most of the times when you go to a dealership, you're only gonna get a few minutes of seat time in the vehicle, right? Maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes. This is not gonna be anything different than that, okay? Something super small, but might matter to some people. The blinker noise in this thing, very quiet. Very, very quiet. You can definitely hear the engine a little bit. It doesn't sound bad. That intake noise out of the snorkel is nuts though. That is cool. It's like a little whisper and then it just goes away. Really, really cool. Driving dynamics, it's not floaty, okay? And when I say floaty, you actually have really good feedback from the road, which is a big issue with a lot of vehicles that in general are truck based, right? I know this Tacoma is on a brand new platform from Toyota that's also underpinning the upcoming 4Runner, and I believe it's a variation of the one that the Tundra and Sequoia are on. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, the road feel is fantastic. It is pretty comfortable. These seats are a little on the firmer side, but I personally like that. I find that to be comfortable, okay? Some people don't, so just keep that in mind. Braking ability feels good. The pedal's a little bit on the softer side, but if I had a hunch, this has probably got electronically assisted braking. And I'm not saying, you know, the autonomous braking, which this thing does have, but I'm saying more so the same way brake boosters help and things like that. So the Acura RDX, which I owned, that was a review I did years ago. That was one of my biggest complaints of that car. This one doesn't seem to have that issue. You still get a lot of good brake feel, which is nice. Going around this turn here, this is just a minor turn, but there's not that bad of body roll. I mean, this thing feels very stable. Now, I will say the transmission does downshift. I don't want to say aggressively, but you can definitely feel it when you get off of the throttle. I am in normal mode, so just keep that in mind. But overall, those are my only takeaways. It's pretty comfortable. The all-terrain tires are not jarring. You hear a lot of intake noise through the snorkel. Transmission shifts smooth as butter, and it's a comfortable ride. The seats are a little firm, but I like that. So I would say test drive this on your own accord and see how you personally feel. And yeah, it's a pretty sweet ride. Everything feels super solid. You don't hear any creaks or rattles. It's just overall a nice place to be. So saying that, that's my test drive. Why don't you go take yours? And so that is my review of the Toyota Tacoma Trailhunter this year for 2025. It is one of the craziest pickup trucks that you can get for the money now. And honestly, I can see why, but I'm very curious to what you guys think. With this one having an MSRP of a little over $68,000, would you spend that money on this truck? Tell me in the comments below. I'm very curious to see what you guys think. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed already, definitely subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up and definitely hit that bell in the corner so that way you get notifications every time I release a video. My name is Austin Ariel from Captured Metal. See you next time.